Everyone thought Complexity would make it through.
I think Complexity is the team that I believe have one of the highest chances of going 3-0.
After all, they are North American powerhouse of an organization with legendary players like Elige. But fate had other plans. Going into the major, it looked bleak for Complexity, after failing to both underdogs in FlyQuest and Passion UA, and going down to the dreaded 0-2 bracket of the major. One more loss and they would be out of the last major of the year, and a massive gut shot to the organization and players. But it's in these moments the real heroes comes alive. Complexity eliminated Imperial swiftly 2-0 to stay alive in the major. And the day after, well, Complexity smelled blood in the water when they saw they were up against Cloud9, an American org repping a CIS roster. And here on Vertigo, Complexity pulled off an insane comeback on the CT side from 2-10 to 12-12. And at this point, everyone who cheered for Complexity saw the run in their head. From 0-2 to 3-2 and making it to the next stage. It was crystal clear, only one match left. Big had a different route to the major. Big before the major was not looking good, from once a dominant force in Counter-Strike to now barely staying in the top 25. But some roster changes with Elige and JT joining the team saw them shine again, like we always thought they would. And at the RMR, Big hit the peak they were looking for and went 3-0 to make it to the elimination stage of the major. Never mind. Valve just hours after reverted the rules and placed Big a stage below in the top 24 and not top 16. So Big from such a high knew they had to work even harder to make it to the next stage. Big in the first day scored a point against Passion UA but lost to FlyQuest, sending Big into the 1-1 bracket. Not too bad. Only one more best of 1 before they can start their best of 3 grind. While here they scored a crucial win against Virtus.pro 13-11 and Big had 2 chances to make it to the next stage. And before them was Furia, a dominant Brazilian team with legends like Fallen and soon to be legends like Queserado. But Big is a German team and Fallen as an IGL has never in the last 3 or so years beaten them. But when there's a will, there's always an opportunity. And Big, from a sure comeback to the elimination stage, is now being in the 2-2 bracket. Well, it was a tough hit, and here they would meet Complexity. The match started off hot for Complexity with a dominant win on Anubis, where we saw Complexity shine like we expect them, with the Elige and Halsuk on top and the whole Complexity team outperforming the Big team. But for Big, this is no issue, as Anubis are their worst map, and we understood Big was in for the long game. And on Ancient, Big proved it with a close game, as well as Ancient being Big's best map. And it was all down to Dust 2, a map Big has better win rate on, while for Complexity it's a coin toss. But they were willing to put all that on the line, and when the match started, we saw the demons both teams were fighting. We're jumping into the pistol round, and here we can see Complexity is on the T side, and has gotten a very strong long spawn. If you didn't know, there are many spawn patterns that decide how the T will play Dust 2. If you have a good long spawn, you will make sure to use it, as it allows you to enter long at the same time as the CTs. And we can see Complexity will be ready for a long take with 2 flashes on Grim, 2 smokes and a Molotov, while Big have gone for full armor on all players and no utility, other than a decoy. Grim lines up these 2 flashes to help Elige, Floppy and Halsuk to take long, and this will be no issue as Big are not even long.
Oh, and Big, they look to have some scars from the game yesterday. They start with a heavy B lean in the pistol.
Well, stop. Let's understand why Big are not on long. Earlier this year, Dust 2 saw a massive update that allowed for one player to be able to jump up short, fast from spawn, something new, as before you had to be 2 players to boost one player up, wasting time and a good spawn. And now with the new boxes, this will not be an issue. And we can see Big wants to focus their pistol on winning mid and short control fast with 3 players, and it might look dumb as leaving long open is a massive issue for the CTs on Dust 2. But when the T's takes long, well, we use utility. So Big will be able to hear the utility and can hold the cross and rotate fast. So it's a gamble Big wanted to go for. While Complexity takes long, we will see JT, who plays Suicide and makes sure not to be seen, will use the new meta smoke for doors, as the good old Xbox smoke is out of the meta, as well as Molotoving short to make sure Big can't push up middle and come behind Complexity. And it's an odd play, as for Complexity to allow Big to take more mid control could be good, as this would delay Big's rotation, but at the same time, allowing Big to quickly win long control will make Big's retake easier. So Complexity are making the hold easier for Big, while making sure that Big's retake will be much harder. And look at the rotations from Big, with 4 players being fast to rotate in towards A site, while Complexity uses this smoke from long to perfectly block off the cross, as well as then using the flashes towards site. As on site, in this area here, it's not many places to hide, so a flash could leave some Big players quite vulnerable. And it's a cleanup, as Complexity finds 5 kills and a round win, and it's all from Big's not too ideal positioning, as they were all in the open. And as we can see, by just the pure dominance of the pistol round, it seems that Complexity has been studying Big.
Smoke down, they're going to be hard pressed to do so. Tabson First man on the scene, couple more players flooding in up through the catwalk behind him. JT and Halzerk alongside Elige give over all the openings. It's just CS2 and he can't get a shot off, can't get a beat on Elige.
In round 3, we could already see the cracks of complexity. As usually in round 3, we will see the first buy to the team that lost the pistol round. But due to Big buying some guns in round 2 and being destroyed, while they are just upgrading to pistols and some utility, while complexity will play this as their bonus round. And here we can see again complexity doing a similar setup to their pistol round, with 4 players going to one spot on the map and then JT in middle for information, while Big are going 4 players on long and only 1 on B. So this should be a walk in the park for complexity, right? Big for this round will be fast and take long control, the smoke, while at the same time over on B, they will be fast to smoke B main off to make sure complexity can't push it. And this is smart. As for Big, this makes sure they can win long and then rotate into middle instead of winning long and then losing B at the same time and then having to save. And this play has forced complexity into middle. As we can see, complexity again are going for a smoke on doors and a Molotov on short. And here there are some issues. The first is that complexity steps in lower tunnel.
Stepping in lower.
And yes, they were about to use utility, so this would have been known, but a second later, and timings like these are crucial. The other is how complexity wastes a nade onto the mid smoke, right before it faded. And I can see it as an element of surprise, but with the step and the nade short, this does not really work in the end. And we can see Big are fast after winning long to walk up to short with 4 players, ready to fight complexity in middle. And here we can see that complexity wants to win short, just to keep all doors open. As we can see, they have 1 player outside of B main, 2 in middle and 2 on short. So on short the action will happen. And JT dodges the flash, but the rest does not. And from a strong position and map control, Big were able to find 3 players, as complexity just gave Big 3 1v1 fights.
Second
Good
flash.
realization.
It's dodged by JT, but suddenly these pistols come in swinging.
And it's all falling apart with JDC being able to win full on B main control, as well as the map control complexity had has sprinkled down to only some mid control. And a great short play and just a great plan. Early long and B control ID from Big was perfect. And we will see them win a crucial round to get back into the game and not allow complexity an early lead of 3 rounds.
Damage done, Halzerk brought down low with nothing but pistols. Big looking to upset early on. This is a big fall down for complexity as the pistols deliver.
Last round, Big brought out the double op setup. And if you can't remember early in CS2, the op was heavily nerfed due to being fewer rounds to buy the op, as well as the smokes lasted longer, so removing an op was not as hard anymore. And yes, nading the smoke was an option for oppers, but this could as well backfire. But Dust 2 are one of those few maps in Counter-Strike 2 where an op is crucial on long and middle, as the double op setup can shine. And the setup gave Big a crucial round win, so how will complexity now deal with the double op setup? Well, it seems like complexity are going for a very default setup of some utility towards middle and long doors. But complexity are actually going for a B rush, and all this utility is just to make sure Big can't really read it yet. As versus a double op setup, a B rush is optimal, as this allows you to quickly take site and not deal with too many long angles that long or mid push would open you up for. Big are going for 2 players on B, 2 on long and 1 in middle. And Big are not stupid, as they know that versus 2 ops a B rush is a common anti-strat, and here they will be having an open window and 1 AK closer to the opening. Big early smokes main to stop complexity, and here we can see complexity will just wait it out, and as soon as the smoke fade, we will see flashes and smokes being thrown by complexity to take site. And here Regon plays in this off angle, not to be hit by all the flashes, as well as JDC are playing behind the big box to be able to play safe and wait for the flash effect to stop. And here JDC and Regon finds 2 kills fast, but JDC has 2 crucial misses on the rushing complexity players, giving complexity much more room to play with. And Halzerk and JT cleans up the B site by killing both Regon and JDC, as well as then killing Thompson, who tried to rotate in. And just like that, complexity can win site control and set up Big for a hard retake.
Smoke no chance. He's going to be able to pick them off one by one. Rigon falls off the box. Bomb loose. Full troops rotating in. JDC finds a second shot before he falls, but Rigon knocked off the box. Hauser gets 2 with the AK. Suddenly Big are under question.
Big has one advantage in this retake, and that is the sheer amount of utility they have. On the retake, Elige goes for a crazy move, where he will walk into the window smoke and wait for it to fade away.
But Elige right now is making a move.
No way.
A crazy move through this smoke in the window.
But a play like this forces Halzerk to hold both for doors and tunnels, as Elige will render himself useless until the smoke fades. Elige walks back and Halzerk are able to find Siosan, who at some point were ready for this play as he was trying to actually nade the smoke and fight. But in the meantime, the odd tunnel smoke is helping Crimbo as he can walk out of the doors and finds Halser. And it's all down to a 1v1, but the time is low and Elige has an amazing position on site. And in an off angle, so when Crimbo peeks, he will be aiming towards window, as this is where Sirison assumed Elige was. And Elige crouch, finds the headshot and wins an intense round.
Smoke blowing open, but it's Halzerk to catch him. Left to Crimbo in the clutch. But they never knew about Elige. They don't know where he's gotten to. Plays the sound cue, and Elige delivers. Clutch up for complexity.
We're now going into the second pistol round of the map. As we can see on the big side, no one of them have any good long spawn, so we will most likely not see any players going for the long push, as well as Big has Thompson and Sirison with full utility and the rest buying armor. Complexity has a flash and a smoke going into the pistol round. We can now see Big are going for a mid take, with a smoke doors and then 2 players top middle and 3 in tunnels, while Complexity are going for 2 on B, then 1 playing anti-flash on car, as well as holding door, and then 1 playing back using the advantage of the USPS versus Glock fight. As well as Complexity then has 3 players towards long and A side. Early in the round, Crimbo got some crucial information towards long. That has made it so Big feels very safe taking mid this soon. As well as we can see, as soon as Big wins bottom mid control, they will send some players back to set up for the B split. Big smoke CT, and here Grim is the first to make contact. And he waits with the smoke till it's just too late, as Rigon can spot him before the smoke blooms and kill him after. And this leaves Floppy in an impossible hold, with none of his other teammates able to rotate and help.
Makes this B play feel so tantalizing. A prospect, smoke down in spawn, they look to get out middle. Grim was waiting with the smoke of his own, tries to remove one of the angles, but Rigon's already up and past it. Floppy now burning alive, and there's the big pistol taking shape.
Round 17 kind of showed you how insecure I think this CT side from Complexity was. Let's jump into the minute mark of the round, and we can see that Complexity are up in a 5v3, a very good showing from them so far, after Halzerk found Rigon doing a solo push in middle, as well as Halzerk again finding Crimbo on long. Love that from him, always being where the action is when you have the op, important to learn for any aspiring opers. But there is an issue for Complexity. They are giving away bottom mid control, something that is never ideal. When you have a 2-man lead, as we can see, it's only JT in window watching middle. And that is good, but a very common spot to check, and can easily lead to a 1-for-1 trade. Which is good, as Complexity are still up by 2, but in our case it's not good, as the whole B setup for Complexity will only work if both players stays alive. And here Big will use a smoke for spawn, JT is checked and can't get the trade. And this leaves Floppy being pushed from middle and tunnels on this island right here. And here he has to guess where the first contact will come from. As well as Big will Molotov behind the smoke to make sure no Complexity players can run through the smoke, try to get a kill or a timing play. Great awareness from Big. And as we can see, Floppy is so unsure, spinning left and right and can't pick between door and tunnel, and this will lead to his demise, as Big will flash tunnels, forcing him to check it as soon as the players are ready to swing the door. And he is found.
Actually, Big would come B, and this is where Floppy could look to rewrite everything. He's got to recover. JDC's shot in the back.
And a 3v5 is now a 3v3, and Big has gotten site control. And when you have site and 3 players, well, you can go for this super fun play. I loved doing this on CSGO, and that is to boost up here so you can spot over the wall and down to CT spawn, and then make sure your last player will be holding for tunnels, can hold for any player swinging door. And this boost is hard to predict, as when you are a CT and will clear from spawn, you will clear door and window, as well as close left and right before even thinking about this boost. As well as on the boost, Sirison uses this knob or whatever you can call it to hide after he shoots and block for flashes, and just to be safe. And after 1 kill, they will fall back, as he has spotted 1 more player. No need to stay, and it's a great read, as this just gives Big the advantage of being up 1 player and no need to risk it for 1 more kill. And a 3v5 is now a 3v0, as Big wins a round they had no business in winning.
Way to look, the boost is up, Big on the tower, knocked down Halzerk despite the double opener. Big are in the picture, 3 on 5, Elige has got to save the day, it's all too familiar, Tabson shuts him down, Grim too low to count, and JDC shuts it out.
Let's talk about the long push from the T side and how to stop it, as Big will fight for long control and win it. Complexity are set up before the take with 1 on B, 1 taking middle and 2 towards spawn and short, while Big have all 4 players going long, so Big have no other map control, but it's not like they will need more if you have long control. Here Big goes for this smoke we saw Complexity throw, as this is the best way to smoke the cross with only using 1 smoke. On the side push, we can see Complexity has 2 players in spawn, 1 on site close to take first contact, and then they have 1 in middle who can either go long and backstep Big, or go short to play with his team. Big will let Complexity use some flashes and go for the side push. But since Complexity only has Elige on site, these flashes will not be as good as Complexity's flashes were on the T-side pistol, as Elige can use the boxes as a way of dodging the flashes and play safe. As well as Elige will wait for the utility like the ramp Molotov before he makes his move. As well as with the new boxes, Valve has created this insane position we can see Halzerk will abuse to get one more kill, as this makes it so Elige only have to watch the left side of sight and not the right side, and quickly a 4v4 is now a 4v2 in the favor of Complexity. And after all of this, Elige feels that it's his turn and he finds Thompson in ramps, leaving it all up to Syrison in a 1v4 to win the round, and like most smart players, he opts to rather save and keep the all.
Can he be the one to reel this back in? The Halzerk AWP continues to find success for Complexity.
Is it enough?
21 kills deep on Halzerk. Another from that AWP. And now Elige, this is where he's going to deliver. Thompson dead, it's just Syrison running away.
Instead of breaking down the last round, as Complexity had to force buy, and it was not pretty, I will let the caster do the final round of Complexity's major run.
Big rally the troops, they answer the call. They'd earned this now twice over. Besting Complexity, going on a recover from this slow start. Thompson's got that resilience. And for Halzerk, 25 kills deep, this is the sourest of notes, as he will fall here at the hand of Big's captain, Germany's captain. Thompson has taken Big to an elimination stage, a feat not achieved since Rio all the way back in 2022. Big move on, and Complexity fall out.
As the German org and team made it back to the elimination stage of the major, something that has taken them 2 years, as the last time Big made it to the top 16 of a major was in IEM Rio 2022. Well, thanks for watching, and it will be interesting like always to see all the major changes that will occur after the major, that has so far been filled with disappointments and underdog stories. Thanks for watching, and here are 2 videos YouTube told me you'd like. Bye.